Díomh go leor agus fáilte roimh go galamh. Is mise an tulibh Becky Way las uchtarón I denisiúnta na hoscailse. Agus is cúis áhis dam fáilte a roimh go dí hoscail na Gaillimhe un na spéisialta se. My name is Professor Becky Way, Vice President International of this university, and on behalf of University of Galway, I want to extend to you all a very warm welcome to this ceremony. It is a special day for all of us in the university, and I want to start by introducing you to various people who are central to today's event. To my left is the President of University of Galway, Professor Kieran O'Hogarty, who presides over the ceremony. With him is Dr. Martina Nichullin, who will open and close the formal part of the ceremony. Behind me is Professor Martin O'Donnell. Where are you, Martin? There we go. Who presents students to the President. And we are also joined by colleagues from the college who have played their part in ensuring that you are able to graduate today at this university. I now hand over to the Students' Union President, Mr. Dean Kenny, who will make a commencement address, after which Dr. Nichullin will open the formal proceedings in Latin.
Díomh a céimeatha, a cóide, a teaghlaigh agus a cuairteoirí, chuir an fáilte over an lá bras basíalta seo agus tá man bhuaich as feadh anseo. Good afternoon, graduates, parents, guardians, family, friends, faculty and guests. Welcome to your graduation. Today is a day that I'm sure you've all talked about and thought about over the last few years, and perhaps at one stage or another you had that thought that you'd never make it, but you're here now. I'd like you all to take a breath, relax, and just say to yourself, I did it. Today is your graduation day. Over the course of the day, you'll be dragged this way and that to get in this picture and that picture and to speak to this relative and that relative who wants to congratulate you. But for this hour and a half or so, please know that it's all about you. You've all had great support, I'm sure, from friends and family and lecturers throughout the years, but ultimately this is your achievement. Throughout the course of today, there will be many, many rounds of applause, but the one person you don't get to clap for is yourself. So, graduates of 2023, I would like you to take this opportunity to put your hands together and give yourself a very well-deserved bullabus. It is an immense privilege of mine to be given this opportunity to speak at these ceremonies, and it has struck me over the past week of graduations how ridiculously unqualified I am to give this address. There are people here today that are receiving PhDs and master's degrees in things I can hardly begin to fathom or understand. Last week I graduated with a Bachelor in Arts, and now here I am addressing you at this podium. And while that much is true, I do think that we have had many similar experiences. I told a story last week about my very first lecture here in Galway, when we were gathered in the Education Building, Block D. We were in a classroom full of people we had never met before, from all corners of the country. We collectively had no idea what to expect, how to behave, or what on earth to do. But all it took was one brave soul to take out the phone and put it on the table and say, put the Snapchats into that, we'll make a group chat. And it's in that moment we knew we'd be okay. Because at the very beginning, no matter what route we took or whether we started as a first year or as a master's student, that's all any of us are really concerned about. At the very beginning, it's about finding our community, our base, just making some friends. For many of us, it may have taken days or weeks or months, and that's perfectly okay. But I think that there's something really special about this place. We've all had very different experiences and struggles throughout our time here, but we have also had many shared experiences. I think we can all agree that Galway is a place where we can all find a home, no matter where we have come from. Just like there's something special about this place, I also believe that there's something special about this group of graduates sat here today. I'm sure it is a sentiment that's echoed year after year as addresses such as this, that this collection of individuals has endured hardships like no other. But I think that sentiment does ring true on a day like today. You all have had a university experience like no other. You may have been studying during that global pandemic, when all teaching was made virtual almost overnight. If you did, you had to endure the Zoom calls upon Zoom calls, those home haircuts, the pubs closing at 8 o'clock, people becoming experts in baking banana bread, and witnessing lecturers trying to figure out desperately how to unmute a microphone and how to share a screen. We've gone through a name change here, though I imagine it will be difficult for many of us to refrain from calling this place NUIG. And on a more poignant and sad note, we've yet to see my home county, Mayo, win an All-Ireland final. For those of us that may have been here before 2020, perhaps in our undergraduate degree, we saw Galway in what I think of as the good times. We've seen the rise and the fall of various beloved nightclubs and a big change to this city that we will forever hold dear. We've made friends, enemies, drinking buddies, exes, study partners. We've had the good times, the bad times, the great times, and of course those, Jesus, when's that due times? When the early mornings, the late nights, the 9 a.m. lectures, endless assignments, Harvard referencing, placement, often unpaid, and online exams. And I'm going to take this opportunity to recite a shortened version of a poem that I think speaks to that resilient nature that you've all displayed. It's a poem called If by Rudyard Kipling. And I apologize in advance because it is written by a man to his son and is gendered as such. If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you. If you can trust yourself when all doubt you, but make allowance for their doubting too. If you can wait and not be tired by waiting, or being lied about, don't deal in lies. Or being hated, don't give way to hating, and yet don't look too good nor talk too wise. If you can dream and not make dreams your master, if you can think and not make thoughts your aim, if you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two impostors just the same. If you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings nor lose the common touch, if neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, if all count with you but none too much. If you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run, yours is the earth and everything that's in it, and, which is more, you'll be a man, my son. I'm sure many of you will go on to achieve tremendous things within your chosen fields. Albert Einstein once said, education is what remains when one has forgotten what one has learned in school. The degree that you'll receive today here is much, much more than a 1-1 or a 2-2 or any grade for that matter. It represents the journey that you have embarked on since you entered here, whether that was in first year as a naive teenager or as a master's student, or indeed whatever route you may have taken to where you are sat here today. Think of how far you've come from that first lecture here in Galway to the person you are today, surrounded by your loved ones, friends and family about to graduate from this university. I know Galway will always hold a very special place in all of our hearts, regardless of what extraordinary things you go on to achieve. But I ask you to keep that resilience with you, wherever you go in life, to follow your dreams, no matter how daft they may seem, and never be afraid to stand up for yourself or for your community, because you are incredible. To once again quote Rudyard Kipling, if you can dream and not make dreams your master. To the parents and guardians and family here today, you should be incredibly proud of the person you're here with. They've contributed much more to this university than simply assignments and turn-it-in submissions. They've made a lasting impression that will not be hastily forgotten. To speak now to you, the graduates, and I'll finish on this note, you'll be glad to hear. Wherever life does lead you, hold your head high, stand proud, and never lose that resilience. I'd also like to formally apologise to all the academics on this podium that have heard that exact speech about 10 times this week. So have a great night, stay safe, try not to trip coming up those steps. Thank you very much. Slán glad, Slán Léir, Ring an Táille.
Pre honorables prese, totque universitas, ha committee universitari hodi convocata sunt, otque de momines a graduos academios admentanter. EOSque presentibit Professor O'Donnell.
Thank you. Good afternoon. On behalf of the College of Medicine, Nursing and Health Sciences, a very warm welcome to the graduates, congratulations, and an equally warm welcome to families and friends. This is the portion of the ceremony where we present the graduates to the President to receive their parchment and award. We begin with the Doctor of Philosophy, PhD in Medicine. Presento vobis hace mias filias filium ic, meum, cuas, omnes, sio, tam moribus, quam, doctrina, habiles, etidiones, esse qui admittantur, ad gradum doctoratus philosophiae, idic tibi fide miae testor expondeo totique academiae.
Ego octartata mihi concessit, miservos ad gradum doctoratus philosophiae.
Our first recipient is Declan Burns. Declan Burns is awarded a PhD in anaesthesia for research supervised by Professor John Laffey, Dr. Daniel Patrick O'Toole, and Dr. Claire Masterson on the potential for mesenchymal stromal cells to treat later phase lung infection and sepsis. Ellen Andrea Donoghue. Ellen Donoghue is awarded a PhD in medicine for research supervised by Professor Thomas Ritter, Dr. Aideen Ryan, and Dr. Oliver Tracy on investigating the therapeutic potential of extracellular vesicles derived from cytokine-licensed mesenchymal stromal cells. Niamh Catherine Duffy. Niamh Duffy is awarded a PhD in medicine for research supervised by Professor Mary Murphy, Professor Martin Leahy on the development and validation of novel imaging modalities to assess modulation of cartilage degeneration and osteoarthritis. Christine McCarthy. Christine McCarthy is awarded a PhD in medicine for research supervised by Professor Martin O'Donnell on a thesis on the association between sleep impairment and stroke risk and clinical outcomes. Rachel Nicole Stewart. Rachel Stewart is awarded a PhD in paediatrics for research supervised by Professor Nicholas Allen and Professor Sanbing Chen on stem cell models of severe childhood epilepsy. Our next award is Master of Science in Cardiovascular and Pulmonary Rehabilitation. Presento vobis hasce mias filias cuas omnes sio tam moribus quam doctrina habiles etidiones isi cu admittantur ad gradum magisteriae scientiae idic tibi fide mea testor expondeo totique academiae.
Ego octartata mihi concessa, in miservos ad gradum magisteriae scientiae.
Anita Baiju. Serene Sindhaya Bijou. Gabriela Galdamas. Amitha James. Master of Science, Cellular Manufacturing and Therapy. Tope Adeshina. Christine Ayu. Courtney Cazola, Leonie Durkin, Ellie Green, Amy Hession, Yu Hu, Fu Wan Li, Kinga Pai Kurzak, Hezi Huan, Pranav Rajagopal, Selakshmi Senthil Kumar, Lisa Siam Tinta, Jingyi Sun, Anne Ward, Kong Yaji, Yulia Yang, Master of Science, Chem and Informatics and Toxicology, Dougal Cullinan Peterson, Aiswari Saji, Swang Zhu, Master of Science, Clinical Research, Hossein Alj Majmal, Stephanie Bow, Shira Gian, Shrishti Dadhish, Xiulu Deng, Dominic Joseph Doyle, Marian Anna Figueiredo, Sarah Flanagan, Harsh Arun Kekade, Vinit Kale. Sarah Kasha. Sarah Kelleher. Sarah Kelleher. Kevin Kitt. Abdallah Maroof. Nidhi Massey. John McCaffrey. Mehreen Seher. Abdullahi Mohammed Kher. Omar Musa. Shane O'Keefe. Karen O'Neill. Pooja Panchal. Bhavesh Pokarkar. Gop Avaram Reddy. Monica Salama. Vishal Anand Singh Aravalu. Sophia Sunny. Mary Walsh. Chien Yu Zhang. Master of Science, Diabetes. Ruha Gauri. Romeo Sibanda. Hermat Wali. Master of Science, Exercise Physiology and Application in Therapy. Andrea Barus. Dermot Brennan. Neil Adam Douglas. David Doyle. Amy McAuliffe. Reedon O'Mara. Amitav Kumar Singh. James Wilson. Master of Science, Exercise Physiology and Rehabilitation. Veshali Bhatt. Shori Gi. Snehal Kastur. Aaron McConnell. Nihazri Pooja Mama El Apapali. Ark Marty. Jitin Matthew. Niamh McCarthy. Aidan McIlmon. Niamh Neelaith. Manvi Purbia. Theresa Slattery. Xingyue Zhang. Master of Health Sciences, Clinical Education. Presento vobis hasce mias filias filosic, mios cuos omnes, sio tam moribus quam doctrina, habiles etidiones ECQ admittantur, ad gradum magisteriae, sanitatis scientiae, idic tibi fide miei testor expondeo totic academiae.
Ego auctoritate mihi concessa, admittavos ad gradum magisteriae and sanitatis scientiae.
Aisha Matar Al-Moody. Sarah Corbett. Ronan Daly. Laura Gaffney. Sinead George. Mary Higgins. Noha Ibrahim. Harry McGrath. Amy Kira O'Connor. Clodagh Sheila Mary O'Gorman. Siavao Kelly. Master of Science, Healthcare Simulation and Patient Safety. Presento vobis hasce mias filias cuas omnes sio tam moribus quam doctrina habiles et idionas isici admittantur, ad gradum magisteriae scientiae, edic tibi fide mie testor, expondeo totic academiae.
Ego octartata mihi concessa, admittavos ad gradum magisteriae scientiae.
Basim Al-Hadi. William Belk. Maura Antoinette Burke. Paul Donovan. Mohammed Hassan. Chelsea Holmes. Barbara Julius. Bushra Karim. Emer Eilish McMahon. Laura McKenna. Anne-Marie Maloney. Kathy Mullen. Sheila Page. John Shaker. Dara John Shields. Jennifer Eleanor Sullivan. Mary Beth Wiedemann. Master of Science, Interventional Cardiovascular Medicine. Jennifer Eleanor Sullivan. Master of Science, Interventional Cardiovascular Medicine, Connor Abbott. Mohammed Kir bin Johari. Oshin Galvin. Harry Hart. Ahmed Ishmael. Haider Jadoa. Sameh Al-Dafata Mohammed. Salome Povida. Max Wagoner. Master of Medical Science, Percento, Vobis, Hunc, Meum, Filium, QM, Cio, Tam, Moribus, Quam, Doctrina, Habilium, et Idionem, Esse admittantur, ad gradium magisteria in scientiae mediciae, idic tibe fide mia testor expondeo totic academiae.
Ego octar tata mihi conchessa, admitter te grada magisteri in scientia medica.
Calum Mark Feeney. Master of Science, Multidisciplinary Radiology. Presento vobis, hasce, mias, filias, philosic, mios, cuos, omnes sio tam, moribus, quam, doctrina habiles et idiones, ECQ admittantur, ad gradum, magisteriae scientiae, idic tibe fide mia testor expondeo, totic academiae.
Ego octar tata mihi conchessa, admitter vosa grada magisteri scientia.
Haley Briody. Noel Peter Clinton. Aoife Katie Coughlin. Carissa Jansen. John Kelleher. David George McAuliffe. Master of Science, Masters in Preventive Cardiology, Khayyam Akbar. Mohammed Bashar. Andrea Costilla. Saeed Mohammed Nakvi. Laura Riley. Yasmin Rohan. Master of Science, Regenerative Medicine. Ashish Rajesh Barood. Adam Corcoran. Sarah Crudden. Ziwei Fu. Zhang Jinggu. Val Hanlon. Cormac Keane. Yukon Liu. Owen O'Donovan. Clodagh O'Mara. William Philip Smith. Ashwari Suresh Kumar Yamuna Bai. Pooja Ganeshan, Jingjing Yu, Suiyong Zhang, Sao Han Zhang, Master of Science Obesity, Sean Coleman, Myrtle Jaman, Olga Therese Tomon, Postgraduate Diploma in Health Sciences, Clinical Education. Presento vobis hasce mias filias philosic mios cuos omnes sio tam moribus quam doctrina habiles etidionis isi qui admittantur ad diploma post baccalaureatum in valetudinibus scientiae edic tibi fide mie testor expondeo totic academiae.
Ego octaratata mihi concessa, admitter vos diploma post baccalaureatum in valetudinus scientius.
Sally Jane Cahill. Margaret Ann Cohen. Sive Comerford. Julie Cunningham. Roseanne Dillon. Anne Dolan. Lisa Marie Duffy. Aisling Tara Dunphy. Owen Fahy. Trudy Falconer. Aoife Mairead Gilmartin. Margaret Gleeson. Jennifer Hayes. Prima Kamath. Maureen Keating. Orla Keenan. Lavanya Lakshaman. Naveen Malik. Jennifer Louise McGarry. Frank McKenna. Alice Maher. Sarah Louise Monaghan. Elaine Marie Murphy. Fergus Murphy. Lauren Mary O'Donnell. Sive O'Connell. Liam O'Gorman. Shane Russell. Fintan Ryan, Ciara Steele, Jennifer Orla Timon, Vijo Varghese, Emma Walker. Postgraduate Diploma in Science, Cellular Manufacturing and Therapy. Presento vobis hunc meum filium, cium cio tam moribus quam doctrina habilem, et idionem ECC admittantur, ad diploma postbaccalatorium, in sciencae idic tibi fide mea testor expondeo, totique academiae.
Ego octartata mihi concessa, admitto te a diploma post-baccalaureatum in scientia.
Dara O'Callaghan. Postgraduate Diploma Science in Healthcare Simulation and Patient Safety. Presento vobis hasce mias filias philosic mios, quos omne cio tam moribus quam doctrina habiles et idiones ECC admittantur, ad diploma post-baccalatorium in sciencae curriculic sanitatis simulatione et salute ergorum, idic tibi fide mea testor. Totique academiae.
Ego octartata mihi concessa, admitto vostra diploma post-baccalaureatum in scientiae curaeque sanitatis simulatione et salutate egrorum.
Daniel Borlase. Mary Brown. Tiernan Byrne. Sarah Carroll. Niamh Cleary. Jean Clunan. Emma May Curran. Sarah Gaffney. Heather Holloway. Marie Hines. Attracta Kennedy. Jessie Lynch. Catherine McGoran. Anne McNulty. Tig Moriarty. Aisling Murphy. Rory O'Brien. Kate O'Donovan. Esther Ann O'Flaherty. Marie O'Hora. Joanna O'Reilly. Karine Patterson. Patricia Pond. Anna Rose Pryor. Eleanor Ryan. Dufasa Slattery, Sheba Titus, Margaret Wallace. Postgraduate Diploma in Science, Multidisciplinary Radiology. Presento vobis hashe mias filias philosic mios quos omnes scio tam moribus quam doctrina habilis et idiones ECC admittantur ad diploma postbaculatorium in scientia idic tibi fide mia testor expondeo totic academiae.
Ego octortata mihi concessit, mittavos diploma postbaccalaureatum in scientia.
Schwab Goga, Kathleen McCarrick, Brendan Orsmond, Chukwudi Ikomaru, Stanley Varghese, Postgraduate Certificate in Cardiac Rehabilitation. Sharon Gavin. Eleanor Hawkins. Harrison Eghosa Ikaro. Palwasha Khan. Shandana Khan. Sarah Kiley. Leanne Malone. Olive McCafferty. Mairead McCormack. Aideen McFadden. Kim O'Keefe. Postgraduate Certificate in Health Sciences, Clinical Education. Emma D'Souza. Tomas Michael Donegan. Postgraduate Certificate, Clinical Research. Hopakatil Titia. Postgraduate Certificate in Science, Interventional Cardiovascular Medicine. Muhammad Ali Jawad. That concludes this portion of the ceremony. Again, warmest congratulations to the graduates on a richly deserved award.
Honorables Prese Totque Universitas. Ha Committee Universitaria Hudi Convocata sunt, ut quaedam homines maxime eximi ad graduos academios honoris causa admentantur. Doctorius in utoque jur tam savali quam canonico honoris causa. Martin O'Donnell presentabit Neil Johnson.
A Hugtarán am Winchina Hulskull agus an Dina Ushla. On behalf of the College of Medicine, Nursing and Health Sciences, it gives us a particular privilege to confer this degree of Doctor in Laws, honoris causa, to Neil Johnson. The best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others. These are the words of Mahatma Gandhi. but they're also words that accurately reflect the life and career of Neil Johnson. Attentive advocate, energetic innovator, and community leader. Neil Johnson's life began in Arda, County Limerick, but he looked west and made the sensible decision to get his university education in the University of Galway. After a BA, he got a first-class honours, MA in psychology. But relevant to today, his journey really began in 1993, when Neil became the first employee and the inception CEO of CRE. His life, and the life of those around him, his family today, would change forever. And our community, as a consequence, would change forever. When we think of CRE, we think of Neil Johnson. They're synonymous. It's now a thriving, prominent, multifaceted, community-based heart and stroke charity organisation. But in 1993, it was a fledgling fundraising organisation. It was a grassroots organisation. It was prompted by a need, recognised by Professor Kieran Daly, the late Professor Pat Finnegan, along with Mr. Ray Rooney, who identified considerable deficits in the delivery of care of heart disease within our Cure hospital setting. They were motivated to improve things, not to wait for government, not to complain, but to take control of how we would improve the care of patients on the West Coast. The motivation of this organisation appealed strongly to Neil, who at his core is a staunch advocate for patients' rights to access optimal healthcare, which has really been a driving force of his career as you watch it and as you know Neil. At the time CRE began, and at the time Neil took up the job, the care of patients on the West Coast compared to the East Coast for heart disease lagged behind. Over the following decades, he and others led a very successful series of fundraising initiatives that transformed the outdated infrastructure in our acute hospital, University Hospital Galway in cardiology. For Neil, this was a dedicated life about improving the lives of patients in the west of Ireland and ensuring the patients were not disadvantaged by the virtue of where they lived. When you listen to Neil interviewed, he will repeatedly attribute the success of CRE to a group of people. And whilst that has truths, at the centre of their success was someone who woke up each day with a staunch commitment to change things, informed by a singular mission. For Neil and his family, and I'm sure they'll attest to this was not a 9-to-5 commitment, unless you consider 5 a.m., coming back from fundraising events across the country. But it was a tireless dedication that extended into late evenings, frequent travels. His advocacy for patient care and equitable patient care is still unwavering. I'd ask each of you to listen to a recent interview with Keith Finnegan with Neil. And 30 years later, that self-same passion and that drive is clearly evident from the interview that unfolded 30 years later. This then brings me to Neil, the innovator. For many, advancing parity of care would be a sufficient goal, and it's often an endpoint for people. But this wasn't the case for Neil. He also championed bringing a new and transformative care to the West. Not just the same care as people on the West Coast, but better care. In 1995, along with Professor Kieran Daly again, he launched the first cardiac ambulance, recognizing that the rural geography where we deliver care meant that patients were not getting access to life-saving reperfusion therapy, what many people call clotbusters. For many patients, this was a game changer. People lived longer, families enjoyed members of their family for longer, and very often not realizing that this was because of really visionary initiatives that Neil and others led. Throughout his career, he demonstrated this uncanny ability to stay ahead of the curve, not to stay static, but to grow and evolve. It also changed the face of Galway. I mentioned at the start about deficits in care. Now Galway is viewed in cardiology terms as being advancing care, doing new things, places people wanted to train, places people wanted to be cared for. In addition to improving the care of patients with acute heart disease, Neil led the next evolution in Cree. And that was namely to prevent members of the community from getting heart disease and stroke in the first place. The new agenda was prevention, but one of the things that marks Neil's career is the recognition that succeeding in prevention would require a different approach to succeeding in improving acute care. Recognizing that this would need to be embedded within our community, informed by our community, owned by our community, and out of a hospital setting. In many ways, this was before its time. Something we take for granted in the west of Ireland and Galway is actually, when people visit here, quite unique, even in people visiting from very prominent centres. In 2012, he, along with others, founded the first heart and stroke centre, Cree House in Galway, a magnificent structure, but dedicated again to this vision of cardiovascular health and well-being. Recognised by the European Society of Cardiology as a European Centre of Excellence in cardiovascular prevention, Cree House has been a remarkable achievement, but it's continued to evolve and grow and extended beyond cardiology into stroke and other cardiovascular conditions. The team grew from beginning with Neil to over 30 interprofessional team, not adding more, but adding different as well as more, and extending the remit which Cree was able to deliver. As a leader, Neil is inspiring, motivating, generous, but when it's called for, uncompromising. Anyone who's been involved with Cree, who's participated in Cree House events, from small events to large ambitious programs, will see the same dedication to excellence, no matter what the event or the cause. And the extraordinary ability to empower members of the team. So when Neil's not there, it works just as well. In many ways, his next venture was a natural progression for an innovator. Until now, Cree had been about bringing evidence-based, high-quality care to patients, in the acute delivery care, in the prevention of care. This was informed by evidence-based guidelines, informed by research studies and clinical trials. So the next natural step was to be part of that research, the generation of research. And this was led to the establishment of the National Institute for Prevention and Cardiovascular Health, or as many people refer to it, NIPC, in 2014. An independent medical research and education institute. And this is a strong interface with our university, reaching out into the community, where NIPC leads a significant program of international epidemiological and clinical trial research, attracting renowned cardiovascular researchers such as Professor David Wood, who joins us today, Professor Bill McAvoy, but also education. This concept of give somebody a fish versus teaching people how to fish. So along with our college, University of Galway, Cree are delivering a suite of graduate programs in cardiovascular prevention led by Jenny Jones, who again joins us today. And this has been a really fruitful collaboration, because it's one thing teaching people, it's something else to get experiential experience in a community-based delivery system. He's a community leader, as I've mentioned, but the scope of the community, as with everything else, has evolved from local within Galway to regional within the west of Ireland to national. In 2019, he founded the Global Heart Hub as the first international alliance of heart patient organisations aiming to provide a voice for those living with or affected by heart disease. Again, this really strong advocacy, but instead of being local, it's now global, which kind of makes sense, but when you think back to 1993, I'm sure Neil didn't envisage this being here. Earlier this year, he was instrumental in establishing Heart and Stroke Voice Ireland, a national alliance of heart patients, stroke survivors, carers seeking to represent unmet needs in the community. CRE began from the patient's voice, interpreted and listened to. It's continuing to extend that to ensure that patients' voices are at the centre of healthcare decisions and at the centre of research and education. In recognition of these achievements beyond today, he has received numerous awards and recognition as Marketing Person of the Year, Galway Person of the Year in 2007, World Heart Federation Heart Hero in 2022, which is phenomenal when you consider he's up against cardiologists, European Patient Forum Inaugural Hall of Fame in 2023. With each award, his characteristic response was that the work reflected the efforts of a team. In transforming a nascent fundraising group into a multidimensional, vibrant organisation to which we are all advantaged by, Neil Johnson has made a meaningful difference to our community and the lives of those of our families and our neighbours. With this, it is an enormous privilege and honour that I introduce Neil Johnson as the recipient of the degree of Doctor of Laws in recognition of his extraordinary contributions to the well-being of our society. Presento vobis hunc meum filium quum theo tam moribus quam doctrina habilem et idionem ECQ admittantur honoris causa ad gradum doctaris in uteric jure tam civili quam canonicia idic tibe fide mie testor expondeo totic academiae.
Ego octartata mihi conchessa, admitto te gradum doctoratus in utroque jure tam civili quam canonico honoris causa.
Honorables praese, ceremonious read confectus, finem quasio facias hueus convocationius universitarii.
And we have now the habit that we invite the honorary graduate to speak, so I'll present to you Dr. Neil Johnson. Thank you very much.
Settle back now. 30 pages here. Take me a bit of time. I'm joking, it's font size 72, so it won't be too bad. Aughtran Unskull Nagaliv, Professor Kieran O'Hogarty, members of the university, Executive Dean Professor Martin O'Donnell, members of faculty, distinguished guests, fellow graduates, ladies and gentlemen. Some months ago, I received a very unexpected personal call from the President informing me that the university wished to confer me with an honorary doctorate, the highest honour that a university can award. He indicated he hoped that I would accept this award. So I asked him to give me a couple of days and I'd get back to him. Of course I didn't. The truth is that I was completely taken by surprise, overtaken by emotion, and I actually had to send him a text later on because I realised that I had descended into gibberish for the remainder of the conversation. Instinctively, after his call, my immediate reaction was to call my mother, momentarily forgetting she was no longer with us, having passed a year since. She pipped my wife on this occasion for a call, so I must tell you why. My mother was the quintessential Irish mammy, which I hope, which you know are one of life's magnificent and treasured institutions, a force to be reckoned with, and I hope there are lots of them here today. But my mother was a bewildering mixture of toughness and affection, with hilariously delusional notions about her 5 sons. I rang her some years ago to tell her I was attending a 3-day meeting with about 20 other people from Ireland, and the meeting happened to be taking place on the campus of Harvard University. Within a week, I had received several bizarre calls from the extended family, with congratulatory messages on being chosen to represent Ireland and for having been invited to deliver a guest lecture. But the icing on the cake was the aunt who congratulated me on being awarded an honorary degree from Harvard University. So you can imagine how big an event a real conferring like this would have been for her. So I remember her today as I do my dad, and indeed my mother-in-law and father-in-law, all of whom I know, if they were alive, would really cherish being here today. I am, however, thrilled to be joined by my wife, Riona, my daughter, Sarah, and son-in-law, Paul. He reminds me that he's my favourite son-in-law. The fact that he's the only, I suppose, gives him that privilege. My brothers, Ken and Derek, and my goddaughter, Rachel, who someday, hopefully, will come here as a student. I must give a special shout out, because I know this is going out on the internet, to my daughter Emma and her boyfriend Dom in Australia, my son Daniel and his girlfriend Morgan in New York, who together with my brothers Kieran and Ian are out of the country and unable to be here today. All of them would really want to be here. And I know it's really only to try on the floppy hat. Receiving this award is in fact a double honour. Firstly, at a personal level, my life since secondary school is inextricably linked to this university and to my adopted city of Galway. I came here in 1980 from a rural background in West Limerick, and I have to confess, I took the scenic route to graduation, much to the deep frustration and desperation of my parents. I started in all things in agricultural science, and in some strange way, ended up graduating with a primary and master's degree in psychology. And if that seems bizarre, the journey was interspersed with law, a marketing placement in a sock factory in Connemara, and even spending some time as a cadet in the Irish Defence Forces. But having been shot at by fellow cadets, who luckily had very bad aims, I decided once shot, twice shy, and war games were not for me. If this paints a picture of someone who hadn't a clue what they wanted to do when they grew up, then it's a perfect portrait. Unsurprisingly, I nonetheless thoroughly enjoyed my student days here in Galway. And as I left the aula this afternoon with the President, I was reminiscing on the social highlight of the week back those days, the Saturday night disco in the ground floor of the Aula Maxima. The following morning, there would be a mass on the second floor. And I'll always remember my first attendance at that mass. The chaplain, remarking on such a large attendance, said he hoped it wasn't a case of sowing wild oats the previous night and praying for a crop failure on the Sunday morning. As I reflect on my academic journey, I was very much an ordinary, average student, so you can imagine how much it means to me to be here today on this podium. My daughter Sarah is a recent PhD graduate in biomedical engineering, and I suppose her reaction on hearing my great news was understandable. What? I had 4 years of hard graft and you get a PhD with a phone call. Some things in life will remain a mystery. My greatest achievement at UCG, as it was known then, wasn't academic, but actually meeting the girl who shortly afterwards became my wife, life mentor and best friend. Little did we know then that our 3 children, Sarah, Emma and Daniel, would take undergraduate and postgraduate degrees here also. When I graduated in 1987, all my contemporaries and I were facing very high unemployment levels in Ireland, something hopefully you all will never experience. In fact, unemployment was running at 27%. So it was either emigrate or innovate. And I happened to be able to use my postgraduate research to create a job for myself, and later 5 others, before I bluffed my way in 1992 actually, into a job with Cree that I never imagined doing for more than 3 to 5 years. So almost 32 years after joining Cree, it's an unbelievable honour to receive this award, which I also see as recognition of the work of the community organisations I've had the privilege of leading since then. Cree, NIPC since 2014, and the Global Heart Hub since 2019. In the context of Cree, it is without doubt an exemplar of how how voluntary and community effort can respond to and transform unmet community need, and in this case, community cardiovascular healthcare. In the case of NIPC, it was spawned from the vision of establishing Galway as a centre of excellence in cardiovascular disease prevention in Ireland and internationally. And I'm really delighted that the prime movers in this aspiration are here with me today: Professor Gerard Flaherty, Professor Tim O'Brien, PhD scholar Irene Gibson, and Professor Jenny Jones. It's a real privilege to be here today with the 10th graduation class of the MSc in Preventive Cardiology. The origins of this course are unique in that from concept to creation, it was developed through a collaboration between a university, this university, and a civil society organisation, NIPC. In fact, what was the first MSc of its kind in Ireland has now expanded to a suite of postgraduate programmes across diabetes, obesity, and pulmonary rehabilitation. And in parallel to the education agenda, NIPC has established an international research reputation led by Professor Bill McAvoy and Professor David Wood, who is former president of the World Heart Federation. And I'm delighted that Professor Wood and his wife, Professor Katrina Jennings, are here today also. So a huge thank you to University of Galway for recognising the contribution of these organisations to our communities. Very often the work of non-profits go unnoticed or receive token platitudes. The reality is that the majority are run in a highly professional manner, provide significant employment, and punch way above their weight in terms of output and community action. I'm also delighted to see in the procession today one of our board members, Dr. Emer Curtis, and I want to thank you, Emer, for being part of today's ceremony. But today is not about me. It's about all of you who have just graduated. So firstly, congratulations on successfully completing your studies, which I know at a minimum for most of you is a second qualification. As such, you deserve extra congratulations because many, if not all of you, have undertaken these studies when also juggling other duties and responsibilities, whether that was work, family, or other obligations. This shows a strength of character and resilience which will undoubtedly stand to you as you journey through life. It is surreal for me to be standing here today when it only seems like yesterday that I was, like you, sitting there and thinking, when will this guy ever shut up and finish up? I know that I'm between you and a well-deserved opportunity to let your hair down and celebrate with your family and friends, so I won't delay you much longer. But I can't let this opportunity pass, though, without sharing some thoughts that may resonate with you. As I reflect on my life, I've come to see life like a jigsaw, except this one doesn't come with the picture on the box. George Bernard Shaw said, "Life isn't about finding yourself, it's about creating yourself." We all tackle jigsaws differently, and for me, I started by building the four corners inwards. Firstly, there was my family of origin. Then my education, especially here at University of Galway. Then my nuclear family, my wife and children, and then my career. And each corner of the jigsaw takes time to put together. And I have at this juncture to especially remember a retired professor from this university, Professor Ruth Curtis, who inspired me and mentored me as a postgraduate student here. In fact, I believe I was her first master's student, and then graduated with a 1-1 degree, which both of us were clearly thrilled about. Once you have the four corners of your jigsaw, you have the foundation. But they are all critical to the final picture. You must diligently find each correct piece because you can't force the wrong pieces together. It took me a while to get going on my jigsaw, but now the picture is coming together and it's getting clearer, but I still feel I have many more pieces to complete. I realize I chose to follow the path I did because I felt I could make a difference, not change the world, but maybe do some good for others. And I owe a huge debt of gratitude to my wife and my children who have journeyed with me and supported me every step of the way. Martin Luther King once said, "Life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others?" In my view, those who are happiest are those who do the most for others. As you all leave here today, as healthcare professionals and future leaders of health services and health systems, I encourage you to always bring empathy and compassion to your work. We are all going to be patients someday, so I ask you never to treat anyone other than the way you would like to be treated yourself. I wish you all a life of good fortune, good health and happiness. I encourage you to be kind, to live your life with purpose, and to cultivate gratitude and humility, and amazing things will happen. As you pass through life, leave deep footprints, not as a result of all the people you've stepped on the way to get ahead, but because of all the lives you have lifted along the way. In conclusion, can I say to all those involved in awarding me this honorary doctorate, this incredible honour, and especially to Professor O'Donnell for his very kind introduction, there are no words to adequately convey the depth of my gratitude and my appreciation. This is something I will treasure for the rest of my days. All I can say is thank you all so much. Thank you.
That concludes the formal part of today's ceremony, and the President will shortly make his address to you before you go out for light refreshments in the Human Biology building, which is located to the right as you exit this building, over there. Before that, I would ask you to join me in thanking those people whose hard work and professionalism ensure that a ceremony such as this runs smoothly. In particular, Brona Clifford and the Conferring team, as well as Tara Layden and Academic Registry. In addition, let me thank the staff from Buildings and Estates, the President's Office, administrative staff from college and school offices, audiovisual staff from the Centre for Excellence in Learning and Teaching, the Marketing and Communications Office, agus Anshavish Astrahan. And to you, the graduates, my very warmest congratulations. I would like to say to you, go now and make the most of the qualification you've gained and the life ahead of you. Goruma Agwiv Goler. I would now like to introduce the President of the University of Galway, Professor Kieran O'Hogarty, whose speech will conclude the ceremony.
Thank you very much, Becky. Gamil Mahagat, agus Gamil Hagavilig, Town Fall Troiv, Hanona, Tamidana, Weekly Vas Venture of Rodu Lasov, agus Cogordigus Livilig. So thank you all very much. You would have all said when you came up on stage, thank you to me. And whenever that happens, as you know, I say thank you, not just you're welcome, but thank you back. Because in fact, today our thanks are due to you. This is your day. And as you know, this is the end of a semester, students preparing for exams in December, and it gives us great meaning to have graduation here now, because the life is turning once again, and we're recognising what matters to us. You are graduates. So we thank you for studying with us. Thank you for staying the course, often challenging, often I'm sure had its highs and lows. Life, as we know, doesn't go in straight lines. And thank you for being with us today as well, because it's a really important day for us as well as for you. So, Gamin Mahagavilig, agus Cogordigus Levilig. Thank you. And this is the final graduation of 10 or so, 12 or so over the last week. And people often ask me, is it a tiring day? Is it difficult? Is it challenging? You must be exhausted. And in fact, it's not. Because every one of you, when you come on stage again, you probably don't realise that you bring energy, you bring your own personality, you all come on stage in different ways, some slowly, some quickly, some with great enthusiasm, and that's energising for me. We get this short time in the university when we meet, and it's a marvellous occasion and a marvellous way to end graduation, to have you here with us as well. So thank you for that too, for being yourselves as you pass through this experience with us, this very important day with us. Thanks also to those who joined us today in the hall, in the Bailey Allen, those online, those also in spirit, who join us, we must remember, in spirit, because we know that our students now are graduates of good days and bad, happy times and sad, and that when they do, they rely on others to support them and to celebrate with them. So we thank you for not only being with us on this day, but also being with us on those days that brought us here. So Gamil Magavillig, thank you. We really appreciate your support for our students, now our graduates. We deeply appreciate your contribution, and we're very grateful that you're here today with us as well. Gamil Magav, thank you. And the other thing that occurs to me when you thank me is you're not really thanking me. I do less around here than people think, that in fact the work is done by others. And I'd like to thank my colleagues. I get the opportunity. I'm on Desh, Initiative Arish, Buikas Gawal, Leonard Golaka, and Colud and Hulscola. So I'd like to thank my colleagues, those with us on stage, those who couldn't join us because of other commitments, professional staff, academic staff, technicians, all who make this university what it is. We're very grateful to you. We've had challenging times, as we know, through COVID, and the mark of a great university like this is the contribution of its staff and its students every day to making it so. Agus Tommy Don of Weektiv, thank you all very much for that work over the years. Thank you. Gamil Magav. And I'd also like to thank our honorary awardee, our honorary graduate, Dr. Neil Johnson. Thank him not only for being here today, but more so for his contribution to Galway, more generally to the region, but also, as we now see, globally. Neil is a remarkable individual. When you meet him, you can see charisma, and I must say it's our great privilege that we were able to honour you today. Gamil Magav. And when we award honorary degrees, we value the person and the work they've done. And Neil exemplifies the values of this university: respect for others and for himself, respect for his community and those around him, excellence in everything that he did, bringing, as Martin said and as he himself said, bringing others along with high standards, openness to working with others, a civic organisation working with the university, and for us as a university working with a civic organisation such as CRE, openness to looking beyond where we already are, to new ideas, new ways of thinking, and the value of sustainability, sustaining an organisation, building it from where it was, but also sustaining a community, and most profoundly life itself. And for that reason, it's our privilege again to award Neil Johnson the honorary degree, and our honour to have him here with us today. Gamil Magav. Neil, thank you. And when I think about what I'm going to say, I often think I should say something new every year. There was a student 2 days ago, a master's student who clearly had been here last year, who said they preferred my tie last year than this year. So hopefully I did better today. So I'd like to say something new. So when I was thinking about what I'd say this year, I was inspired last week by an event on campus, which was the launch of the newest piece of sculpture, the newest piece of artwork on campus, which we have represented in the photograph here, which is called Murmuration. And this piece of artwork is in the O'Donoghue Centre. So, as Becky said, when you go out, the Human Biology building is on the right. Opposite on the left, the long stone building on the left, is the O'Donoghue Centre. And within that hangs this piece of sculpture called Murmuration by the English sculptress Nicola Anthony. And this artwork comes from a project that emanates from the Capital of Culture in 2020, but is led by colleagues of this university, Riona Nareel and others, a project called Ashtru. And Ashtru, as you may know in Irish, means translation, but means more than that, means transformation, means movement, means going from one place to another, means a coming together. And what the project Ashthrough did or sought to do, and did very successfully, was first of all to translate works of poetry and other forms of literature from one language to another, but also works of art and works of creative art from one medium to another. So in this case, poetry to a piece of sculpture. And the poetry on which this piece of sculpture is based is a poem by Louis Dupuer, professor in Irish Studies here in University of Galway as well. And I'll first of all read the poem and then maybe talk some more about the poem itself, what it says to us, and then conclude with the piece of sculpture and some thoughts to be brought from that. Tá dán as Gaeilge a bun, agus bhí comhlúd ar Gaeilge bhí teachta sa caite agus léimar as Gaeilge an dán sin agus na léitheanta sin, ach tá Astrachan Denta ag Louis A. Hain. It's translated by Louis himself to English from Irish, so I'll read the version in English of a poem which in Irish called Dini Ushla, the Louis Dupuer in English, Ladies and Gentlemen, translated by Louis himself. On the holy streets of the city of the tribes, where legend has it that Cromwell stabled his horses in the sanctuary of a church, there's a smell of spices in the air that would whet the appetite of God's wife. A tin whistle tune blows from the belly of the old town, the breath of history through the cold walls of South Connemara. In the middle of the market with her cow eyes, a Romanian woman sits at the gates of St. Nicholas's, a placard round her neck, as though she were admitting a mortal sin before the elders. Ladies and gentlemen, says the scrawny handwriting, and we wouldn't pass her any quicker if she exposed a breast or a withered limb. Ladies and gentlemen, please. The polystyrene cup at her feet is filled to the brim with the best wishes of the Minister for Justice, sick, her stomach singing with hunger. And little did I know when I was inspired by that event last Tuesday, that has last week and this week would progress or evolve, that this piece of poetry would be even more relevant now than it was then. Because this piece of poetry evokes our own history here. History of legend of Cromwell stabling his horses in a church. The cold walls, the grey walls of South Connemara. A place where we know dispossession and we know displacement. And from here we also recognise there are people who are left behind and aside, like the humanity in the poetry itself. And that you're graduating from many programmes here, all your programmes here, will provide you an opportunity at some stage to reach out your hand in support, your hand in healing, your hand in help to others who are at the margins, sometimes unseen, sometimes unheard. You will see them, you will have the opportunity often to give them voice. And that is also consistent with the values of the University of Galway. And when Nicola Anthony was then invited to present that as a work of art, why did she present Murmuration? Murmuration, as we know, or as you might know, is where thousands of birds gather on a summer evening when the wind is down. And they flit in patterns, disciplined patterns, from one side of the sky to the other, ebb and flow, to and fro. And Nicola Anthony represents this as this from this poem. And her point is, as she says, is this is emergent behaviour. This is society passing by. This is the ebb and flow, the to and fro, the disciplined behaviour, which often leaves others behind. And there are three elements to the sculpture in particular I'd point out. One is that on each, you can see it I think from here, but on the wing of each bird is a word from the poem, a word in Irish from the poem. So a word is etched on the wing of each bird. Secondly, there's one bird which is not following the crowd, Níl Lanington Scotta. One independent bird. And thirdly, one of the beauties of this sculpture, when you see it, it's not as obvious here, but you can discern it from it, is that it casts a shadow on the floor, the ceiling, the wall, wherever the light comes from. And this to me asks us, challenges us as the poem does. What word will be etched on your wing as you fly? Will you be the independent bird that doesn't follow the crowd? That will stand for others when others need you. That will say what needs to be said when it needs to be said. And thirdly, what shadow will you cast on the world as you fly? And when I mentioned Nicola Anthony, I was going to mention the poetry here and the sculpture. She said, that's great because the graduates too, they will migrate, they will be a murmuration, they will go. And there are messages here for you too. And JFK, as you might know, his assassination was 60 years ago last week. So last week it was more pertinent maybe than this week, but JFK was always good for quotations. And one of those quotations which is attributed to him is that going back to our beginning, what we said at the beginning, and coming today with an attitude of gratitude, you all said thank you. And John F. Kennedy would say, we don't express our gratitude only in words, but in the lives we live. So as you depart from here today, as you create your own murmuration, I hope that in the life you live, you will first of all ask yourselves, what word will be etched on your wing? Will you be the independent bird? And what shadow will you cast on the world? Enjoy the evening. Thank you.